Alrighty. Bit late, I grant you, but we're going to do like 20 to 30 minutes worth of hype. We're going to do some conversating, a little bit of argument with the chat, and then we're going to head over to the scheduled live stream on my channel that is sitting here, and we're going to do hopefully some call-ins. We're going to take a look at where Von Helton has ended up after all this time. But for now, come one, come all, to our fun little hype stream for the mainstream. Hit that like button, do the things, interact, please, please. Running a bit late because dinner went a bit late, but that's all right. That's all right. We will make it up. We will make it all work out. I'm a phenomena. Nice. I'll take that as a compliment. Harper, good to see you in here. Make sure you guys are hitting that like button as you're rolling in. Let's start to populate the stream with lots of likes and reactions. Hi, Amaya. I still can't believe Obama confirmed that aliens are real, y'all. I wish we would have gotten more information out of him. My God, yes, my son? Liberal final boss? Hey, you found me. You found her. So for those of you rolling in, thanks to the donations we got yesterday and today, we have made a content goal that will enable us to do some live call-ins, 20 minutes apiece. Here a little bit later on, around 11:30, we're going to be ending this stream and going over to a stream that's scheduled on this channel. So once again, it is on this channel, on the live tab. Go over there and hit the alert bell, so that way you'll get notified when that goes live. We're going to do some promotion for here about 20-30 minutes, and then we're going to head over there. So make sure you catch that. It's going to be really fun. It's an opportunity to argue with me live through the power of the internet and VoIP. First time in a couple months. Get a job? Why would I get a job when I can keep grifting people out of YouTube SuperChats? That's a joke, obviously. You have to have like a certain level of effort and consistency that you bring to these for people to even consider you worthy of super chatting like regularly. I hope you don't smoke around your baby. No, nobody smokes around my kid. I mean, I'm in an outbuilding, so like Jesus. Sorry about that, y'all. Sounds healthy. Well, I have a cold right now, okay? Just ask the people who normally watch my stream. I'm not normally this coffee, okay? I'm dying of COVID or something. Sure, I can say Anaya. Anaya. I sing and chamomile helps. Chamomile would help. I should make myself some chamomile tea when I go inside for the debate stream that you guys should all catch here in about 30 minutes. And by debate stream, I mean live call-in show. We're going to be taking a look at some Von Helton content and hopefully getting some people in to argue about the news, current events, politics, whatever happens. But we'll have the Von Helton content to fall back on if we need it in between call-ins or while we're waiting for people to trickle in. What are your pronouns? She, her, hers. I'm so excited. Hey, you should be, Harper. Everybody be. Make sure you hit the like button, by the way. Every single time you hit that like button is another chance to send the stream out to even more people, which increases the quality of your viewing pleasure by increasing the number of people who can engage in the chat. So please double tap your screen or hit that like button, whichever one you have available on your platform. What is trans? It means I was born assigned male at birth, raised as a boy, and transitioned to womanhood later in life. In my particular case, I mean, trans can mean like the opposite for someone who was born assigned female at birth, obviously. It would mean like the converse, you know? You're speaking way too fast. Might have to slow it down then. I don't know. You don't look like a woman I ever seen. I feel like you've probably just grown up around really boring women. Kind of sick. Is that the kind that you smoke? My cigarettes are not really that interesting, I promise you. You're not speaking fast, they just listening too slow. That's kind of how I feel as well, honestly. I don't want to say it like that because it sounds a little insulting, but the fact of it is, I don't really talk that fast. Do your parents like you? My parents love me. They don't like me. They love me. Do you hate people who don't support trans? I mean, I try not to hate anybody except like active Nazis, fascists, things like that. I do have a kind of like negative opinion of that opinion. And if someone holds it, I guess I'm going to think a little bit less of them, but I would fall short of saying that I hate them. I feel the same way about someone who's anti-trans as I do about someone who's like pro-flat Earth. I feel like they are fighting for a scientifically unsubstantiated position with a lot of fervor. And while that fervor might be admirable on some level, what it's being used in furtherance of is, of course, not. How old are you? I am 27. Are you a woman? Answer me. Yeah. Yeah, I am. I blame the Jews for this monstrosity. Yeah, I'm aware that there's a big component of like the Nazi right that genuinely believes that trans people are just a result of the dirty Jews. But you guys literally blame all of life's ills on the Jews. If you overcook your steak, it's because the Jewish company that made the grill that you use fucked you over on the design of the grill. If you fucking wake up one day and it's supposed to be a bright and beautiful sunny day, and it turns out to be raining, it's because Jewish weather forecasters specifically planned to fuck you in particular over. You guys are unserious. Literally, I feel like some of you guys are the type of people to be walking through your house at night and stub your toe on the corner of some piece of furniture, and you're like, God damn Jews, motherfucking Jews, fuck! What kind of strain is your crack? Whee! Am I Jewish? No. I regret to inform you that I do not, as far as I know, have any ancestry from within that noble and talented people. I give you the Tolkien answer. Why are you breathing hard? Because I'm dying of some fucking upper respiratory infection. What's it to you? Are you a girl or a boy? A girl. Why? Dude, is this really like so hard to puzzle out? Would a man, like, just ask yourself for 1 second, would a man ever be caught dead with this haircut? No. This is like an insanely feminine cut if I identified as a man. What do you think about Charlie Kirk? Well, I've got a boilerplate position on this that I've been reciting for a few months, and I guess I'll give it to you again. I think Charlie Kirk was a backwards, bigoted moron who nevertheless did not deserve to be shot dead like a dog on the street. I also think that it's rather interesting. The conservatives expected the left to have endless sympathy for Charlie Kirk, and in fact expected America in general to have endless sympathy for Charlie Kirk, and they seemed to have endless sympathy themselves for Kirk and his family. But when it came to Renee Good's shooting at the hands of a federal agent, no such empathy seemed to exist in that situation. I find it incredibly interesting how conservative America is very, what's the word I'm looking for? They're very particular about who they assign empathy to, whereas they kind of just expect it as a baseline out of us for any of their big demagogues. But I'll tell you, I thought the death of Charlie Kirk was a tragedy, just like I thought the death of Renee Good was a tragedy, just like I think the death of Alex Pretty was a tragedy. And if you cannot see the escalation of political violence just present and clear in all three of these killings, then you're just not looking. You've got a partisan reason for believing one is one and the other is the other. Thank you for the gift, the torch. I appreciate it. That is very kind of you. If anybody else would like to donate, that is one of the ways you can do it with those little gifts. You can also donate using my Cash App link down below. I also have my affiliate link down there for signing up for Cash App if you want to. And you can use Super Chat. Either way helps the channel. You guys are the reason I'm able to do this so often, so consistently, and as well as I'm able to, as badly as that may be sometimes. Did you just fart? No. We are Charlie Kirk. Keep screaming it from the rooftops, bud. I hope somebody pays attention at some point in your life. I'm not going to lie, I would side against a lot of things you stand for, but that was well put. Maybe you should reconsider some of my positions then. You never know. I might have a lot of more intelligent things to say. You mega chopped twin. Somebody's going to have to translate into early Zoomer, late millennial, because that is a type of general newspeak that I am, with which I am totally unfamiliar. Yeah, there is like an overly large quotient of like haterade in the chat right now. So we're just gonna like, honestly, I don't even mind the haters, but like some of them are like spam bots. Some of them are clearly just like alt accounts. There's a bunch of people that just want to fucking say Jesus loves you. Like, let's just make this chat semi-manageable, at least for a minute. Okay, there we go. This is not meant to censor anybody. I really genuinely do love having a wide and diverse variety of opinions featured in here, but we have to have some level of readability. If you want to make sure your comment or question gets read or answered, because I can't read every single thing that happens in the chat, consider sending a super chat or donating via Cash App. You can find that down below. Either way helps the channel out immensely and is the best way to add your voice to the Discord if I don't happen to see your comment in the chat. Hello, how are you? I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. I'm getting ready to do a live call-in show here in 15, 16 minutes, give or take. We are going to be ending this live stream and going inside, and I'm going to be having anybody who wants to come on. There will be a Discord link. You'll be able to join the Discord, and I will vet you on the Discord, make sure that you're, you know, not just going to scream the N-word or something like that in my ear. And then once I have some level of basic compensatory trust that you're going to be a human being, then I'll bring you on the StreamYard. So, if that sounds interesting to you, make sure you stick around for that. Hey, Phoebe, sending your good vibes your way, my friend. Hey, for sure, for sure. Thank you. I appreciate that. What is this live for? Mostly to promote the live I'm doing in 16 or 15 minutes. Mostly to promote that one. Mostly to let people know, hey, go find that shit because it's going to be really fun. It's going to be an interesting opportunity. You know, there's lots of people that I talk to on these, like in general, the reason I do these vertical live streams is to argue with people in the chat that disagree with me, whether that's like severe disagreements, like somebody who's part of the MAGA movement or hard right, or whether that's more individual disagreements with someone who's on the left. I just like to argue with people. I like to have deep conversations about things that matter, and this is a good avenue for me to do it. And it, it doesn't pay too horribly either, as long as I keep the energy up. Is it a debate thing? I mean, it's going to be live call-ins. So if somebody wants to argue with me, they can call in and argue with me. If they want to call in and just be like, hey, I thought your take on this was really cool. Thanks for saying that. They can do that too. It'll be a kind of free-flowing thing. It'll be taken in the direction people want to take it, I guess. But ultimately, it is kind of intended to be a platform that will enable me to have some passionate and spirited disagreements with some people. So what you think the tensions between U.S. and Iran? Yeah, so we right now are hosting talks. We're not hosting talks. I'm sorry. We're attending talks being hosted in Geneva between Iran's foreign minister and a delegation from the U.S. But the problem is both countries are engaging in gunboat diplomacy right now. The Iran Revolutionary Guard Corps is doing exercises in the Strait of Hormuz, and the U.S. Navy and other resources of the U.S. military are being gathered up in the seas around that are nearest Iran. So, there's a lot of show of force going on from both sides, which does not bode well for peace talks. Normally when two countries are going at each other and they've both got active developed militaries and they're trying to strut them in front of each other, it's just not a very conducive environment for peaceful negotiation. I think we would be in a stronger position going into these negotiations if we had just left our military at home and made it seem like we're so totally unbothered by the premise of them retaliating with military action that we're not even worried about having the ability to retaliate immediately. I think we could have made a bigger power play by doing something like that, because the way we've set things up and the way things are going right now, I don't think that we've created conditions conducive to a productive peace talk. So I don't think any deal is going to be made, and I think that there is going to be further military action between the U.S. and Iran, between Israel and Iran. What are your political positions before I call in? I'm a market socialist in the near term and an anarcho-syndicalist in the long term. I think that eventually we can set up a society where everybody has what they need and where people are able to focus on what they really want to do and live lives that are worth living in sweet and beautiful, harmonious communion. But I think we have to work towards that world. I don't think we can flip the switch on it tomorrow, even under the best of circumstances. And I think the way that you teach people how to take care of their fellow person through taxes, shared effort, and things like that is by increasing the social safety net, expanding the social safety net, and that's basically the same thing. I just said it twice. Um, Expanding the social safety net and creating um, a difference between human needs and luxuries and comforts. You can start to make people recognize the distinct need that human beings have to make sure that these things are fulfilled, and you can make people understand that it's in their best interest, like as members of a society, to make sure that those needs are being met. Yeah, basically. I'm not a class reductionist, I'll tell you that, but I do kind of like a lot of the arguments class reductionists make. I feel like it's still very important to recognize different axes of oppression while also keeping in mind that all of these are used and abused by the capitalist class to keep all of us in chains. What is that star? It's the "Be Scared of Me, Christians" star. Do you separate county and state? One can love their country and state, you mean? Um, One can love their country but disagree with the government. Yes, yes, I separate country and state, 100%. Like, I love America, but I'm really not a big fan of the United States government. I love some of the theories that underlie the US government, but many of the reasons why I don't like the US government itself is because of how I'm sorry, because of how far they fall short of those principles sometimes. Once again, I just want to make sure you guys hit that like button as you guys are rolling in. You guys are the main way that this stream is able to promote. So please hit that like button. Consider sharing on your social media if you're willing to give me that endorsement. I appreciate it a ton. Separate Islamic Republic from Iran? I do. Oh, in my mind, I don't look at the people of Iran as like a representative. Like, I don't look at the Iranian government as like a representative slice of the people of Iran. Autistic or down? Just autistic. Where's the Discord link? I don't actually think I have the Discord link in my description, but it will be in the description of the stream that I'm about to do. Once I go live, I will add it in there and it will be available. So just keep in mind. Oh, never mind. Aria's got it. Aria's got it. I love America, but disagree with the government. Me too. True, by the way, whether it's a Republican administration or a Democratic administration. The optics for the USA is really bad at the moment. Like, it may be lower than Vietnam with Trump and Epstein giving support to Israel, not condemning genocide, destroying boats of people, Greenland, etc. Oh, yeah. The United States has never looked worse on the global stage than it does now. Objectively, we have never looked worse than we do right now, with the possible exception of Vietnam. I think that Vietnam may take the cake, possibly, but even then, there were countries that were on our side even back then. We have managed to pretty much alienate every goddamn country that we have an allyship with at this point. Like, even Britain has had to make like multiple direct rebukes of different things that the US wants to do, like Britain, our closest ally, like the one who is really our closest ally, like our actual fucking closest ally, not just a satellite state of ours, Are you gay? I'm bisexual, but that's hardly the most interesting thing about the stream. How will we ever tell the rest of the world they're doing bad and do better when we suck? Exactly. I mean, you're kind of highlighting the problem with our increasingly negative global perception of our morality. Can you agree with the explosion of mining in the polar caps? It is important we have a hold in Greenland like we have for decades now. I think that we need to work on unilateral trade deals. I think we need to work on fucking cooperation, not conquering. I don't think it's important that we have a hold over Greenland. I think that it's important that we unite with like minded allies to make sure that we all maintain control over areas of common interest. The only reason why people don't agree with me, I'm not saying you, Frosty, necessarily, but the only reason why so many people on the right, at least, don't agree with me on this is because they don't see, they believe in a fundamentally different way of ordering the um, the global order, basically. Even a fundamentally different framework for how all this shit should be set up. Give me 1 second. I gotta use the bathroom. I was just thinking about something. Conservative policy has changed a ton over the decades because you look at somebody like Kissinger, and I don't think that somebody like Kissinger would have wanted us to invade Greenland. I think somebody like Kissinger would have seen it much more preferable for us to maintain the existing arrangement and just increase our presence there over time. Because Kissinger was a big fan of the long strategy, the idea of, like, he was a big fan of the post-war world, the post-war rules-based order, and he believed that we could achieve, basically, he thought that we could achieve global peace through like strengthening international relations and shit like that. Now, whether he actually believed that or just said that kind of shit to dress up the atrocities he was helping to commit in Southeast Asia, I don't know. But I can say that, like, that version of conservative foreign policy was actually somewhat more gentle than what we're seeing now, which is a seemingly single-minded obsession with the projection of American power worldwide, wherever we can get it, wherever we think we can have the most effect. And our interests, being economic and political in nature, has never been so obvious and outright and clearly established. How does that work when our tech supply comes from China? We need to establish production for ourselves. I agree with that. If our main supplier wants to pull their hand, what does one do? I think we need to establish stronger trade relationships with pretty much every country on the planet, number one. Number two, I do think that we need to bring that manufacturing over here so that we do have our own capacity to be able to do it. Not necessarily because I don't want us to continue to invest in good international relationships, because I do. I'm a fan of left globalism, the idea that eventually we connect up enough of the countries, like, once again, I'm sorry, I'm going to quote fucking Kissinger. I believe that through all this turmoil, there exists a splendid opportunity to build for ourselves a new order of world peace founded on a global interdependence. I think that we kind of had been building that for like 50 years after Kissinger was Secretary of State. We've kind of been building towards that, and it's really like the Trump presidency and the Trump era that has taken us away from that back to this like Monroe Doctrine, pure like American projection of power and political and financial gain to the forefront. Like, I think we need to rebuild those international relationships, but I do think we need to have some production here at home as well, so that if there is some, say there's a big power change in a country we've got a good trade relationship with currently, or that we built a good trade relationship with at some point in the future, and we rely on them mainly for some of our tech. Well, we need to be able to build that tech over here. We need to have at least, a few factories that we can use as a model to build more on the basis of. So that if that trade relationship ever breaks down, we can pick up the slack domestically and maybe even put ourselves in a better position in the global marketplace. By the way, all of this, like, that we're talking about right now, all of this is kind of like theory crafting for a world that is slowly dying and a way of life that is living on borrowed time. So, like, ultimately, these policy decisions, even if we were given the power to make them, it would be like short-term stuff to prepare us for the next 10 years of preparing for a better society that doesn't work like on the basis of, fiat currency and wage slavery. But I do think it's important to talk about like what would be good for current policy, like for current policy discussions and shit. Like what would be a better direction for whatever thing. I think it's an interesting exercise, if nothing else. How you doing tonight? I'm good, Trump Bunny. Wild name. Cool guitar. Thank you, Wasteland Games. Thank you, thank you. Alrighty. Well, we are going to do this for 5 more minutes, and then we are going to end this stream, and we're going to go inside, and we're going to do live call-ins. While we're waiting to do live call-ins, we'll check out some Von Helton content, see what he's up to these days. Give you guys a little bit of basic history on John Helton, or fucking Von Helton, and it'll be fun. It'll be good. But we're going to do this for 5 more minutes just to kind of prepare people for that. Once again, if you want to make sure your comment or question gets read or answered here in the last little lightning round section, consider sending a super chat or a Cash App donation. You can find that down below or to the bottom right corner. I'm going to pin that message, actually. That is 99% of why we are doing what we are in Greenland. Yeah, but we don't need to take over Greenland. Like, and ultimately we haven't. We've just like expanded a little bit of our control over Greenland, which I think might have been the point in the first place. I think Trump might have been just posturing. Trump and Rubio might have just been posturing with all this shit, being like, "Oh, we're gonna take Greenland. We're really gonna fucking take it. We're gonna take it by force if we have to." I think it might have just been like, a bit of showboating to try and increase their rhetorical position, but it's had a real backfire effect because now Europe is wary to work with us at all. They're de-risking from the US right now. All kinds of European nations are. What's your backstory? You look interesting. I've got a crazy backstory. Maybe you can read about it someday. There are 2 live streams waiting. What is the real one? What one is the real one? Oh, either one of them is the real one, but one of them is in landscape and one of them is in portrait. So if you're on mobile, find one that's in portrait. Other than market socialism, what other views do you have on current topics and stuff? Oh, well, it just depends on the fucking thing you ask me about. I mean, there's lots of things that, like, normally when I talk about my politics, I talk about, like, the economic system that I want us to live under, because I feel like that's, like, the dominant force of power in our lives. But when it comes to regular everyday issues, like, let's go through, like, some basic ones. Like, universal healthcare is a big thing I talk about a lot, being something that we need immediately here in the US. We're one of the only countries that doesn't have it. Um, Abortion rights, I get asked about that a surprising amount, and I've always maintained that abortions are a horrible thing that no one would ever use as birth control, so we need to stop moralizing about it and just start providing them free of charge as part of a universal healthcare program, and protecting doctors and practitioners and caregivers and shit the way we used to back when this country was a civilized land to live in. Let's see here. Student loan forgiveness and fucking, eventually, like, getting free higher education and vocational training would be a big one too, like training for trades and shit. Subsidizing union apprenticeships. Oh, please. Let's see. Genocide in Gaza. I think it's irrefutable that there's been a genocide in Gaza going on for the last 2 years, almost 3 years at this point, and that the deaths have not stopped despite Trump's fake ceasefire. Let's see here. Oh yeah, I think that pretty much every person of any significant connection to power that like has been in government for the last 20 years has been connected in some way, however remote, to the Epstein files. And it looks very likely that as a result of these files, we now know that a ton of our richest and most powerful citizens have been involved in, like, human trafficking and murder and, like, fucking just horrible depravity. Any controversial views? Trying to find something other than the market socialist I disagree with you on. Let's see here. Any controversial views? I mean, whether a lot of my views are controversial, but it just depends on the person you're talking to, right? Like, my views on immigration are going to be with somebody who's on the far right. My views on guns are going to be controversial to somebody who's on like the center left or in the center or something, because I'm anti I'm anti magazine restriction and I'm anti type restriction. I think that you should be able to have whatever fucking gun you want to and have as big a mag on it as you want. Um, I don't think any of the evidence suggests that the main thing inspiring gun violence in this country is too much access to scary guns, when most of the gun crime committed in this country is committed with a handgun. So that is, to a lot of people, perceived as a right-wing position because they operate within the American political discourse, where for the last 100 years, most of the time, gun politics has been associated with the right. Well, really, it's been over the last 50 years. But anyway, it's actually a leftist position. Leftists were the first to advocate for the peasants to be armed. Leftists were the first to advocate for the regular common person to learn how to fire a gun, to learn how to be skilled with one. This is ancient history. So it's actually kind of an example of the right wing picking up a populist, hardcore leftist bit of theory and running with it. But I reclaim that long and time-honored leftist tradition of being incredibly pro-gun. Arm the peasants. Well, Wasteland Games, here in a minute, you can come in and you can we can debate about it, and maybe I can pull up some information. We can learn a little bit together. People should be allowed to own RPGs. How are we supposed to defend against Tesla vehicles' existence? I don't know about that. I don't think you should own an RPG to use it against Tesla owners or Teslas. But if you want to like have an RPG and buy a Tesla and blow up your Tesla with your RPG, I think you should be allowed to. Oh, can it, Joshua? You hate me because you ain't me. Oh, I heard a lot of MAGA people are pissed off at Spanish music these days. So, la cucaracha, ya no puede caminar, porque no tiene, porque le falta marihuana que fumar. La cucaracha, ya no puede caminar, porque no tiene, porque le falta marihuana que fumar. Had a great convo with you tonight. I'm a cowboy from South Florida and love finding common ground. Well, look at that. Dude, I wouldn't think that there's enough I wouldn't think that there's enough solid soil for there to be Cowboy 1 in South Florida. I gotta tell you. That's a shocker to me, but I ain't never been down there. I'm just telling you, every fucking picture I ever seen of South Florida and looking at it on like Google satellites, it gives me the same impression of itself that like the deep south toward the coast does in general, which is just swamp. Swamp. But maybe there is some fucking solid ground down there. I mean, hey, human beings do all kinds of crazy shit. You'd be shocked what a fucking redneck with dedication and a fucking bulldozer can manage to pull off in a swamp. You'd be amazed. No, I've got a lot of admiration for people that manage to live in Florida, dude. You guys are wild. I'm glad that y'all had a good I'm glad that you had a good conversation in here. Oh, fuck, man. Yeah. So I guess here in a minute we're gonna be ending this stream, and then you guys can find one of the existing 2 streams that is scheduled. It's gonna say it's super late, but it'll pop up live here in a minute when I go inside and click the go live button. So you guys just need to be ready for that. That'll be happening here pronto. Any regrets? I don't think I have any major regrets. No. Are you a boy or a girl? A girl. And I got a Trump sticker on my truck. Well, look at that. We managed to find common ground despite despite it all. Alrighty. Especially Florida, we don't play the leftist game. It's actually kind of funny. Like policy to policy, Florida does tend to vote left, actually. Like if you just compare like the way they vote to like the way they vote for candidates, it's crazy. Like usually Florida will vote Republican when it comes to like national level politicians, but a lot of times on like ballot initiatives and shit like that, Florida will vote left. So Florida's a weird state. You guys have your own unique political situation going on down there. No, we don't. I mean, anybody can look up what I'm saying and find it to be true, but if you say so. Cough so hard our audio died? No, I just muted myself so I didn't have to subject you guys to the ear rape of listening to me cough for fucking 2 minutes. I'm trying to be a little bit more conscious as a streamer. People I trust have been making fun of me for my low effort productions, and so I'm trying to be a little bit more professional. What's up, Cody Dunn? We're neighbors, you and I. I live in Mississippi. Depends on where in Florida. Parts are like California, others are like Alabama. Yeah, that was the impression of what little contact I got with Florida that I got. All right, well, doesn't seem low effort. My first time joining, and I can feel the effort you're putting into this. Keep it up. Well, hey, thank you. I appreciate that. I mean, I have been trying to put more effort into it, and I'm glad that other people notice. That's awesome. Thank you. You had a question? Well, go ahead and repeat it, Dr. Mindful. You can be the last question of the night before we go on to the live call-in section here in a minute in the house on the desktop stream. You can find it on this channel. Once again, do I go to the Discord VC to verify? Yes. I have another friend in Mississippi, so I needed to change my YT name, LMAO. Yeah, no. Yeah, no, for sure. You do. You really do. You gotta change your fucking handle, dude. Dude, people fucking, you know what is fucking crazy? You know why this happens? Because so many of us signed up for YouTube and signed up for accounts like on all kinds of different social media back during a time when the internet was still kind of virginal in a way, and nobody really understood exactly the benefit or virtue to having, like, I don't mind having my fucking actual name that I go by in everyday life as my username because I've got a really pretty name. But I'm also trans, so I got to pick out my name, you know? So not everybody has that opportunity. Before anybody asked, by the way, I came out long before I started like doing YouTube regularly. So no, they're not connected. I just liked the name and then later on realized, hey, that would make a really pretty name for a YouTube channel, actually. Like I could actually just like, I don't need to find some name for a show or anything like that. I just do it under my name. It's fucking, it's, you know, memorable enough. So anyway, but I don't remember what I was going to say now, actually. Calm down, Arya. Settle on down now. No, I'm bisexual, but I've got more of a preference for women, I'd say, like in general. Although I've hooked up with more dudes, so I don't know. I've probably hooked up with like 11 women in my life, maybe 13 if you count like non-penetrative sex kind of stuff. But I've probably hooked up with like twice that many guys. So I don't know, man. You know, like my internal preferences say one thing, but the lived reality says another. Didn't know he kept score. I do. Yeah. Am I not supposed to? Was I not supposed to? I thought you get to like turn it in for a trophy when you turn like 65 or something. You can go up to like the Chamber of Commerce and you turn in your slip with your body count. And they give you a trophy, you know, commensurate with your efforts. Stop lying, dude. Like, am I supposed to like show you the vagina of everyone I fucked? Am I supposed to show you the cock of everyone that I've ever like fooled around with? I don't know, man. I can't prove it to you, so I guess belief or disbelief, or you know, rests with you. I thought we all kept count. That's what I'm saying. I'm not. I'm just now finding out that I'm not supposed to be paying attention. Hey, that's even more sex positive than I am. No, I'm proud for my numbers. I mean, yeah, I kind of am too, you know? And really, human society programs us to be, and our biology kind of programs us to be. You live rural or in the city? I live in the fucking countryside now, but I used to live in a small town, and I've definitely lived within cities at various different times. And I've lived in different kinds of small towns too. I've lived in a walkable small town, and I've lived in a really spread out small town. I've lived in really old small towns and really new kind of small towns, you know. So, uh, and as far as big cities, I've never been to any of the. I've never been to either of America's largest. All three of America's largest: Chicago, L.A., New York City. Never been, but I have stayed overnight in St. Louis a few times. I've stayed overnight in Kansas City a few times. Stayed overnight in Boulder for like, oh, I didn't stay overnight. I fucking stayed there for a week. But I did sleep in the parking lot of the Boulder Little Caesars one night because I don't know. I guess I thought we felt like we were going to be getting farther from the house than we actually were, but we didn't. What do you think about the situation? I don't think that much is going to come from these peace talks in Geneva. I'll tell you that much. I think that we're being sold a big old pack of lies when it comes to that. I think that the fact that there is so much gunboat diplomacy going on from both sides that we can't expect much from these talks. It does not bode well for a peace talk when you've got both countries doing military exercises near the possible conflict zone. Let's put it that way. Yeah, I smoke hundreds. Do I think external intervention is necessary? No. No, I think that America should be taking a different tack. I don't think we should have done any military buildup in the region. I think that we should have went there with a I think we should have went to Geneva with the delegation and had peace talks in good faith. And I think it would have been a greater show of strength if we didn't have that military buildup, because I feel like that military buildup just makes us look like we're scared and ready for something to pop off, and we're trying to beat our chests and shit. And it's almost like a dominance thing. If we could just come over there and be like, cool as cucumbers. But I don't think there's anybody in the Trump administration that can go over in a foreign delegation and be cool as a cucumber to the Iran foreign minister. I think they're all going to go over there and fucking cock like a bunch of roosters. And they're going to puff their chests out and they're going to fucking make a big show of it. And I don't think much is going to come of it because the gunboat diplomacy is being done on both sides. And it's like, it suggests a certain attitude going into these meetings coming out of the American delegation. If a real progressive runs as an independent in 28, they'll probably get my vote. You and me both. I've got a thing that I'm going to be doing here soon called Anarchist Tries Democracy, where I'm going to take you guys through the process of learning all about, I'm going to basically take you guys through the process of learning all about the democratic process in my state, the democratic process in the United States in general, and what hope there is for progressive change through the Democratic Party, and if there is any hope at all. Because I'm pretty sure that either that here's my prediction for 2028 when it comes to the presidentials, okay? I think that by 2028 we will see. Hold on, let me read the super chat real quick. Thank you, Owen Godfrey, for the $5. I appreciate it a ton. Anarcho-syndicalism, free market socialism, or anarcho-capitalism? Which is your fave? Anarcho-syndicalism, for sure, for sure. Anarcho-syndicalism. But yeah, I mean, market socialism, like with a regulated market, with human needs being met by collective effort paid for by taxes, I think that that is a good intermediary system between what we have now and the anarcho-syndicalist utopia of the future. But anyway, what was I saying? What was I saying before that? What were we talking about? What were we talking about? What the? Can somebody get me back on track? Can someone scoot the stream back and get me back on track? Oh yeah, I was talking about how I want to start learning more about like the democratic process, meaning like how our fucking like actual democracy functions in my state and in the country more broadly. And I want to answer basically two questions in doing. Number one, can a third party or independent movement win in a national election? And two, can the Democratic Party be reformed and used as an element of positive change, or as a tool for positive change? Because I think I remember what I was going to say now. I think by 2028 we are going to see the Dems make the decision that is going to make or break the party and its future. I genuinely believe that. If they coronate Gavin Newsom or Kamala Harris, an establishment Dem like that, it will effectively mean the death of the Democratic Party. There will be a mass exodus of progressives from the party, and when they lose, which I think they probably will, honestly, because there's just a ton of people in America now that are pissed at the Dems because they rightfully recognize that the Dems are the reason why Trump was able to win, because he was not an electable candidate. The Trumps just, I'm sorry, the Trumps, the Dems just didn't put up a good enough fight. They didn't put up a good candidate. They allowed Joe Biden to run until he fucking, basically all but drooled in front of the country. And then they threw up Kamala Harris and didn't allow for an actual open primary. They just coronated her and passed her through. So there's tons of people, not just people that look like me, but there's tons of regular progressives that are sick and tired of the fucking Dems. And if they nominate some fucking standard run-of-the-mill APAC funded moderate Dem, some Republican light in 2028, I genuinely think that even if they win, it will effectively mean it'll be the last victory the Dems get. And I don't think they will win, because I think people are fucking sick to death of not seeing what they genuinely want be reflected in the politicians that get elected to office. I think that there are a ton of people who have for years been voting for the lesser of two evils, and they see how that is not actually meaningfully off the evil. Like, now we're living through a fascist administration that we have to fight with all of our effort just to restrain its worst impulses. And that is with all of this fucking lesser of two evils voting. The other option that they could take is that they could allow some new, like, actually progressive candidate to take the forefront and to take the reins of the party and to guide it in a better direction. They could allow some progressive to actually fucking get the nomination. And I think that that would start to push it in a positive direction. We're primed for independence to break into the rave. I kind of feel the same way. Kind of feel the same way. But yeah, that's another prediction I have about 2028. If the Dems do nominate somebody like Gavin Newsom, I think that there might actually be a big independent. Like, it could happen. It could have happened. There's been twice when it could have happened in recent American history. If Bernie Sanders had decided either time they fucked him over, either in 2016 or in 2020, if he had decided at either time to run as an independent, he would have won. I genuinely believe that. I'm not even kidding. I think that he either would have won or would have gotten so many fucking people to vote for him that they would have had to do some kind of like runoff or redo or something like that. It would have made a fucking splash. I swear to God it would have. And we ended up getting Trump in 2016 anyway, so it would have been better to try. It would have been better to try. It would have been better to try. I'd vote for AOC or Sanders. I don't know that I trust AOC that much. But you know, I'd certainly prefer her over Gavin Newsom, I'll tell you that much. I don't think a hand recounting would have mattered, honestly. I think Kamala lost because she just wasn't the right candidate, to be honest with you. I think that Kamala could have, like, I think that Kamala can do some things right in government. Don't get me wrong. I just don't think that she is presidential material. That's not to say there's no woman in the Democratic Party that's run recently who couldn't be. Like, Elizabeth Warren would have been a perfectly fine candidate. Well, until she fucked over Bernie. Then I think, you know, that kind of was like you kind of sold your principles off. Thank you, Owen Godfrey, for the $5. I appreciate that a ton. What's your opinion on Jill Stein receiving a donation from Trump's former lawyer? Oh, damn. What's my opinion on Jill Stein receiving a donation from Trump's former lawyer? I did not know about that. But I will tell you this much. A lot of people have kind of made the argument for years that Jill Stein and the Green Party as a whole might be just kind of like an op, you know, like a controlled opposition from within for essentially like people's attention and votes. Basically, that it's like a way of siphoning off leftist votes from the Dems. And I've always felt like that's just an argument that people make against third parties just to support like blind obedience to the Dems. Actually be true in the Green Party's case. It would not surprise me if there are people within the Republican Party and the right who help to fund the Green Party specifically because they think that it will help to siphon leftist votes away from the Dems. But it's clearly not that effective a strategy because look how few votes the fucking Green Party gets. So, I don't know. I'd have to know more about it. There are some people that have worked with Trump that really didn't like him all that much, you know? Like there have been a ton of people that have worked with Trump that haven't liked him all that much and that have been open about it before and after. JD Vance will be one of those people, by the way. JD Vance was calling Trump a Nazi back in 2021. Nobody remembers this, but he was. So JD Vance has bent the knee for now, but JD Vance will be criticizing Trump harder than anybody after Trump dies. Just you wait. Have you heard of Edward Bernays? Let me tell you a story about Liberty torches. In the early 1930s, the cigarette manufacturers of America had a problem. They couldn't sell cigarettes to women. Legally, they could, of course, at least in most municipalities. But culturally, there was a stigma against women smoking cigarettes. People just didn't like to see us smoking them. The cigarette companies had an ace up their sleeve, though, and they had a contact by the name of Edward Bernays, a powerful marketer, the founder of PR. He decided that the best way to help these cigarette companies overcome their sales slump, aligned on gender lines, was to tie it in with the women's liberation movement, nascent at the time. He had a group of women dress up like Lady Liberty and proudly light their liberty torches, lighting them up and lifting them to the world, declaring that the old stigma is gone. We are now free to smoke. And that is how America's first propagandist convinced the women of America to smoke cigarettes. I found out that Edward Bernays' last living relative is the co-founder of Netflix. Oh, fuck, man. Doesn't it just all fit? Doesn't it just all fit? You want to start, it'll blow your fucking mind out the back of your head, Owen. Start looking up just how many fucking things tie back to the Northeast, specifically Massachusetts and New York. There are, like, people always think of like the West Coast as the modern powerhouse of American, political power and influence and all that, but the real like shadow government comes from the fucking deep South and the Northeast. For example, Berkshire Hathaway, Warren Buffett's investment vehicle. One of the richest fucking people on Earth, and one of the wealthiest hedge funds on the planet too. And interestingly enough, the Berkshire part of that came from I believe it was just called Berkshire Mills or something like that. But it was literally a mill in Berkshire County, Massachusetts, that produced textiles. It was a textile mill. And Warren bought the company as one of his first investments when he first got into investing. And he very quickly used it basically as a vehicle to start investing in other businesses. He merged it with another manufacturing company somewhere in Connecticut. And, through this merger and the subsequent formation of a joint stock company, he created this framework by which he could invest in more things. And eventually the textile business ended up getting phased out back in the 70s. And now the building that used to house the company and the workforce basically of what used to be Berkshire Hathaway is now just apartments. So that's just one example. George Peabody, product of the Northeast, like one of the robber barons of the 1800s. Most of the robber barons of the 1800s had connections to the Northeast, strong connections. It's like people do not realize that, and I think that there's kind of like a myth. There's a myth that's told about America to every school child and inadvertently to people all the time. It's like whispered in your ear constantly. And that myth is that America is a place whose morality, ethos, legal code has been formed through a centuries-long process of democratic consensus, and that alone. When the truth of it is that America is an aspiring democracy that has been heavily, deeply influenced by the 200 years that it spent as a colonial existence, ruled over by a faraway king, operating under completely different principles. And we've also been massively influenced by the forces of capital, because the forces of capital were integral to building the colonies. America, what I should say is the British colonies in what would come to be known as America was capitalism's first big project, and it has thus far been its most successful. Acorn squash is better than the Republican Party, and that's saying a lot, because I don't like acorn squash. Isn't that the tiny little fucking squashes that you can't even hardly eat? Or am I thinking of a different kind of squash? There's a billion types of squashes, melons, and things like that. Dude, look into cucurbits, and you will have your mind blown. Or is it cucurbits? Whatever, the pumpkin family. Look into the pumpkin family, or the gourd family, or whatever it is, and you will be fucking just blown away. There are whole fucking varieties of gourd and pumpkin and shit like that cannot be eaten at all by human beings. Like, you can feed them to cows, but even cows don't really like them. You can feed them to, like, pretty much, like, there's very few animals that eat them, like pigs maybe, but they exist primarily to sit on people's porches and be actual, like, in theory, living pumpkins, but they're just like, I don't know, it's weird to me. It's weird to me. Okay, let me put it this way. There are ornamental fruits that if I could have my druthers, I would eradicate from existence. Because I don't see any fucking point in growing a thing that has no point, no ostensible point, other than looking pretty, if that thing takes more resources than just like the little plot of land that its roots occupy. You know, because like it takes so much space to grow a bunch of like decorative pumpkins that have no actual good use. Whereas if you just want to have a pretty little flower or something, that, like, whatever, that just takes resources of the flower, the plant itself, and all that. I don't know, man. I guess I wouldn't do that, but there's just like some things I don't get about the way we use land and grow things. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and go from this stream. We're going to head indoors into the other stream, and we are going to be doing a show. We're going to be having some conversations in there, so come find me in there in just a minute. I will see you guys in a second.